Well, I'm going to start it because it sometimes I've noticed with the Empire Nation it cuts off at the front. So like we should start it and then give it some time and then start.
Welcome to Was It Good? We just finished Stranger Things Season 3, a show about screaming children and exploding rats. I'm your host, Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're discussing what Eleven has been up to, what the Russians have to do with this new season, and answering the age-old question, was it good?
So
this podcast will have spoilers.
You're kind of leaning down.
I know.
Towards your thing.
I was practicing.
I know.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, but you can center yourself.
Like this. Center yourself. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Was It Good? We just finished Stranger Things Season 3, a show about screaming children and exploding rats. I'm your host, Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're discussing what Eleven has been up to, what the Russians have to do with this new season, and answering the age-old question, was it good? This podcast will have spoilers relating to Stranger Things Season 3.
And 4.
I mean... I'm just going to start with that hot take right off the bat. I don't know if I care for Season 4, to be quite honest.
Holy shit.
That's how we're starting this.
Ravi comes out guns a-blazing.
Well, I'm going to start it because it sometimes I've noticed with the Empire Nation it cuts off at the front. So like we should start it and then give it some time and then start.
Welcome to Was It Good? We just finished Stranger Things Season 3, a show about screaming children and exploding rats. I'm your host, Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're discussing what Eleven has been up to, what the Russians have to do with this new season, and answering the age-old question, was it good?
So
this podcast will have spoilers.
You're kind of leaning down.
I know.
Towards your thing.
I was practicing.
I know.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, but you can center yourself.
Like this. Center yourself.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Was It Good? We just finished Stranger Things Season 3, a show about screaming children and exploding rats. I'm your host, Ravi, joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. We're discussing what Eleven has been up to, what the Russians have to do with this new season, and answering the age-old question, was it good? This podcast will have spoilers relating to Stranger Things Season 3.
And 4.
I mean... I'm just going to start with that hot take right off the bat. I don't know if I care for Season 4, to be quite honest.
Holy shit.
That's how we're starting this.
Ravi comes out guns a-blazing.
Fire everywhere.
Jesus Christ, Ravi.
I know, that's kind of intense, right?
We didn't even get into our one-word impression, and you just went straight to...
Hot take.
Fuck Season 4.
Fuck Season 4.
Because Season 3 was so perfect.
Yeah. I will get to that point later as to where that statement came from, but... As Christian just said, our one-word impression, we love to kick these podcasts off by kind of going around the room or the square table and asking each of ourselves how you would sum up the season, movie, TV show in one word. Arjuna, you are the youngest and smallest person I know. Let's start with you.
You make him sound like he's like 2 inches tall.
What am I, a
The
hobbit?
smallest person I know. What?
I'm gonna go with electrifying.
Wow.
As my one word, for multiple reasons. First of all, I'm going to go electrifying because it's 1985. There's a lot of electrical themes. Back to the Future. The 80s being a lot of neon lights, very electrical. There being elevator shafts, electrical.
What?
A lot of electricity in this one.
Nope.
So I'm gonna go-
I'm not giving you the elevator shaft as electrical.
Electrical.
Is it electrifying or electrical?
Electrifying.
Electrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice word.
That's a great
Electrifying is
Definitely
my word.
feels 80s.
I felt like this season, even more than the seasons 1 and 2 of Stranger Things, felt very 80s, and I felt it really leaned into the aesthetic, and it was probably because we watched all the episodes pretty much back to back.
Yeah.
But it felt very fast paced, very electrifying, and I think the season only takes place over 4 days. I think
Yeah.
it starts off like June 30th, July 1st, and ends on July 4th. Besides the little time jump we get at the end.
That's true, Juno.
And the time jump before.
3 months into the future, 1 year in the past.
So, but I would say it was electrifying.
Electrifying. Okay, I like it. I like that. Christian, how would you? I mean, no matter what, your one word is probably going to be terrible compared to electrifying. So, but go ahead, please try.
My one word will be puberty, because there was a lot of puberty in this movie.
It's a TV show.
TV show, yes. It reminded me a lot of watching Harry Potter movies. You know, you watch the kids grow up, and they went through, I think it was like the third and fourth movies, maybe the fifth movie as well, like that awkward voices deepening, the limbs are too long for the body, the awkward haircuts, the stammering, the zits, just the ugly early teenage years. And there was a lot of that in season 3. They are right in Harry Potter. They're right in that, the wheelhouse of those awkward movies.
I believe Lucas actually makes a comment about Is It on Max early in the season.
He does.
Where he got sprayed in the face.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Can you see better?" And he's like, "Is
a
that a new zit?"
Yeah.
That was messed up.
Oh, that's great.
There you go.
But, so, yeah, my word is puberty.
Puberty.
Not pubes. Puberty.
Not pubes. Oh my.
Wow, this podcast is already off the rails. So for my one word impression, I'm going to go with bloody.
Like bloody hell?
Like bloody hell.
Like you
And the reason I'm going to go with bloody is very simple, actually. It's because there was a lot of blood. A lot of...
it was gory.
It was very gory. Right in the episode 1, we had exploding rats just kind of keeling over and then turning into goo. We had human beings turning into goo and combining to create the gigantic, gross-looking monster. It was, there was a lot of blood. Even in that after-credit scene at the very end, that room that they threw the Russian guy in, there was a lot of blood. So...
Yes.
I mean, for those that are listening, you can also tune in when we go live on our podcast at Was It Good on Twitter, and you can actually see our set, and we actually have a nice red bloody theme going.
We do.
Christian and I really went into it and wore red t-shirts. Arjuna, for some reason, thought, you know what, I'm just going to be a brat and wear black.
I was channeling my inner 11 from season 2 when she goes through her emo phase.
But we're not
and
in season
dresses
2.
all black.
We just watched season 3.
Why don't you just shut the fuck up?
You ruined it, Juno.
So speaking of ruining things, our one-word impression sentence is electrifying bloody puberty.
Oh my god!
Or bloody electrifying puberty.
Yeah,
Which
you
might
could do-
work a little bit
Or
better.
puberty bloody electrifying.
No, electrifying bloody puberty just sounds, that's just, I mean, for everyone who is
Who's
a
been through
human
it?
being who's gone through puberty,
Pretty,
you can definitely probably feel at times like that.
You're welcome, everyone. If I hadn't said puberty, it wouldn't have worked.
It's true. I believe both sentences, or the last few sentences from the last few podcasts, have hinged on your word.
So before we get into our next section here, what happened? Netflix does this really cool thing, especially with their original series, where they have a recap of the last season, sometimes other seasons if there are kind of like prominent things. And those things are usually very, very helpful. They're usually a little bit longer than like a traditional 1-2 minute recap, sometimes like 5-6 minutes. And we obviously watched the season 2 recap, and both of you probably know where I'm going with this. What was the big piece missing out of the season 2 recap? Would anyone like to remind the audience of what happened in season 2?
11's entire plot?
Correct.
Well, it was it was the much maligned, much discussed season 2 episode of felt like a backdoor pilot into a spinoff of 11 and her likened powered friends, going around and wreaking havoc and becoming a gang, which was completely absent because the episode had no bearing on anything.
Bearing on anything.
On the plot.
And they made a conscious decision going into season 3 in that recap. That recap set it perfectly, where was this entire other group of enhanced humans. They exist. It wasn't in the recap, and then season 3, there's no mention of them there either. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's almost as if that entire plot never happened.
Which, it happens in TV shows, though. There are plots that work and plots that don't, and I think the creators, the Duffer Brothers, heard the feedback, knew that it wasn't very popular, it wasn't a very well done episode, and I think they just kind of moved on. Like, they told the story they wanted to within that. It helped 11 develop in the way they wanted to within that season, and then you don't really need to go back to it if it didn't work.
But there's also 2 more seasons coming out, which means never say never.
And there could still be the spinoff.
Oh, God.
You never
Wait,
know.
there's a spin-off in the works?
No, there's no spinoff
Oh.
officially in the works, but I think, like take HBO and Game of Thrones. When you have a popular franchise, you're going to keep it going as long as possible. And the rumor is that there's only 1 or 2 seasons max left of Stranger Things with the current cast.
Mm-hmm.
But Netflix is going to want to continue the franchise on in some way, shape, or form. And spin-offs make sense, continuations, time jumps, prequels, you name it.
Multi-universal dimensional things?
Sure. Movies, who knows?
Ay. So much.
It's too much already.
So jumping into what happened, the section where Arjuna, the producer, tells us through his eyes and writing
This is a lot.
what happened. This is a lot.
You're gonna have to sprint
I'm
through
just
this.
going to run through it real quick.
What about the grading rubric?
No, it's going to take
Where
too
it
long.
is too long. So, what happened in Stranger Things Season 3 according to Arjuna Ramgopal? Here we go. Summer love. Dustin returns, but everyone hates him. Interning sucks. Yes, it does. Hopper, uptight dad. Magnets, oh my god. The Red Ranger becomes a rat. 11 and Max become besties. Russians live under the mall.
Yes, they do.
Dustin and Ice Cream Girl team up with Steve and his coworker. Mike gets his ass dumped. Will gets goosebumps. The mayor's working with Russians. Oh, look, a Russian friend. Back to the insane hermit man from Season 2. Elle and Max discover Billy is evil. Elle and Max link up with the Press Boys. Hot tub time. Wait, when was there a hot tub?
There wasn't. It was the steaming room.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
okay. That threw me for a loop.
Unbelievable.
And jumping back, the intern story links up with the kids with hospital story. 11 discovers Mind Flayer's plan. Battle. Ooh, leg guts. Hopper and Juris go to the fair. Terminator. Smirnoff dies. Steve falls in love with a lesbian. Ice Cream Girl. Forget about her. All the kids go to the mall. Real quick, when you're referring to the Ice Cream Girl, you're referring to the Robin character?
No, the ice cream girl I'm referring to is
Lucas's sister?
Lucas's sister, whose
Gotcha.
name I forget. I said forgot about her.
Ice Cream Girl forgot about her.
Yeah.
All the kids go to the mall. The final battle. Sing off. Billy and Hopper die. Hopper's goodbye letter. Moving on out. Nick Fury starts the Avengers.
I didn't get that last one.
Yeah, that
It's an after credit scene. The quintessential after credit scene is Nick Fury with the Avengers Initiative. There's an after credit scene with this show.
Oh, dear.
It's a reference.
There's 2 out there.
Now, for our audience listening to this podcast, obviously, there are 2 things I want to bring up. So, in terms of timelines of stuff, Season 3 of Stranger Things, they took 2018 off,
Yes.
right? So they waited a good chunk of time to then start filming, and then they released Season 3 here, July 4th, 2019.
Right. Season 2 came out right around Halloween of 2017.
Wow, I was basically a different human being. Because scientifically, all your DNA or cells or something change. No, I guess that's every 7 years.
7 years.
Never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe emotionally I was a different person? I don't know. Anyway, this isn't my therapy session. Yeah, so this came out July 4th, 2019. It's been some time since we've seen Stranger Things on the internet. Season 2 was this comes out. The entire story for this season, the chunk of it, obviously, from episode 1 to episode 8, and then obviously there's that 3-month period at the end. But the majority of this takes place roughly from, it looks like, June 30th to July 4th. So
Yeah,
of course, about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 days.
This was 8 episodes, and the 3 of us binged it in less than 24 hours.
We did.
Yes.
What's wrong with us?
We were just so into it, I guess. It was so exciting. We were on the edge of our seats.
I will say this, like last night watching it, every episode, the pacing was actually very, very well done.
Yep.
I was concerned because Netflix has a real freaking problem in the middle chunk of any season. It gets boring. It just becomes, somewhat tedious. I didn't feel like this had that problem. I felt like the problem was actually the last 2 episodes.
Oh, for me, it was the first 2 episodes.
Really?
I thought the beginning was very boring. I just felt like...
You're referring to the Summer Love, Dustin Returns, and Everyone Hates Him.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was just slow.
The first, it takes a little while to get into,
Yeah.
in terms of them to get to the plot, right?
Yeah.
So my biggest, the thing that I didn't like was the consistent groupings. I missed that, like, Dustin didn't interact with the rest of the kids for most of the season. I missed that, Steve was away from everybody else for most of the season. Like, you certainly had your established groups.
Right.
And they were all, like, they were isolated the full season.
Yeah.
And I kind of missed having different characters teaming up instead of just the same consistent team-ups we've seen really in the first 2 seasons.
Well, did we see Dustin and Steve, like, this intense?
Season 2.
Season 2, we saw it a little bit towards the end, but then they've added new dynamics. Like, adding Lucas's sister,
Yeah.
I thought was really, really cool.
It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Adding Robin as well.
Sure.
And that is its own gigantic piece that we'll definitely get to in a minute. But it changed it up a little bit.
It changed it up a little, but I think I just wish it wasn't all of that. Like, I wish it had been. I wish we had seen some of, like, Steve. I wish we would have seen, like, Steve with Will's older brother, whose name I'm forgetting.
Steve with Will's older brother. Why?
Will's older
Joyce's
brother.
oldest son.
Because they fought. They had some.
They
angst.
fought. They had some season 1 stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, just
But it doesn't.
it's a small town and
Sure,
there's different pairings.
But it doesn't make sense logically.
Does it make sense logically that Dustin and Steve keep hanging out when it's like?
Well, they've established that.
They've established a relationship and
Sure.
a rapport.
Yeah.
And the whole reason he went to Steve was because he's a friend.
right.
Right, and then Steve, obviously, he looks at Steve as someone he can talk to because clearly he was having issues with his other friends, which was established in the first episode, right? He felt that his friends had abandoned him, didn't care so much
Sure.
about him because they all gone with their girlfriends. So I think from a logical standpoint, yes, I think it makes sense that they're splitting up because the big theme and I think the thing about Stranger Things that everyone kind of likes is that it is childhood, it's growing up. You're not going to be with your same 3 or 4 pals consistently. Sure. You're going to get girlfriends. You're going to have these different dynamics.
The pressures of life.
I wish we had seen I wish we would have seen more different dynamics.
Like crossovers.
They did some nice ones, right? 11 and Max fixed the big issue of season 2 where people had a lot of issues with them pitting female characters against each other.
Did they?
Yes, that was a big issue. A lot of people had a big issue with 11 and Max just hating each other because of boys, essentially. Mm-hmm. If you remember, there was a piece where Max might like Mike.
Might like Mike.
And then 11 had an issue with that and, like, trips her at one point, and they don't like each other.
Right.
And they fixed that with this season, like, putting those 2 characters together. I just wish they had done a little bit more diversity. Like, I felt like, cool, we got the Steve and Dustin stuff in season 2. I didn't necessarily need more of that in season 3. Cool, like, we got... You know what I mean. Like, we got more like Joyce and Hopper. Cool. Like, that's been going on for 2+ seasons, and we'll get into that, as we said. And I don't know. It's a nitpick, but, like, I just, for season 4, I want to see more diversity. I want to see more different groups. And
so can we argue then that you right here are ranting about your rants? Relationships are gross, and why do children grow up?
yes.
Because
Why do children grow
because
up?
these are, like, based on what we're seeing in the show where, these characters are branching out, having new relationships. I think these hit your 2 points perfectly.
They do, and like one thing that I found really interesting that I wish they had gone with a little bit more was Will still kind of being stuck as, like, a little kid, like wanting to play D&D.
By the way, what little kid wants to play D&D?
Well,
this
but
age?
but he's on a different level,
Sure.
and they even, like, make fun of him. He's not interested in girls yet, while the others clearly are, right? And it was not. They kind of did that, and then he just became basically the indicator for when the Mind Flayer was around, and like his character development
He became
kind of stopped right
He
there.
became Goosebump Boy.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like I wish they had done a little bit more of that because they started with the premise is there, right? That kids grow up, people move on, people are changing, but they were right there and then they just kind of paused it.
I think though I think though the last couple of scenes really though show where that's gonna go. That has foreseen consequences. He doesn't take his D&D set with him. He does tear down his thing, which to me tells me now that he's gonna be separated from his friends has pretty big consequences for this character going forward. So I agree with you. Within the context of the season, that seems like a hanging thread, a loose thread.
Sure.
But I think that's got to be taken in the context of season 4 and 5 and whatever else they do. But yeah, my major nitpick with the season, if we're going there now, is that it almost jumped too much from scene to scene and character to character. It felt like sometimes we would spend 30 seconds here, then we're 30 seconds here, and 30 seconds here. And it happened multiple times throughout this season. It felt a little bit ADD sometimes. Like it just jumped around very quickly and very often, instead of just sticking with a couple of characters for more than 2 minutes.
So would you say this is your least favorite part about the whole thing?
That's my least favorite part about it.
Right.
That's my major nitpick, if you will.
What about you?
Major
Ravi.
nitpicks. If you have some toothpicks,
what is
you
your
wanna pick
least
something
favorite
out.
part of the season? Ravi, Ramgopal.
To be honest,
You just named them.
I can't actually think of anything that's so like in my face right now about the
Oh,
whole
the
thing.
CGI.
CGI was actually for a Netflix TV show. I thought it was actually pretty
Was
good.
it
Oh!
better than Spider-Man Far From Home Optical Illusions?
Yes,
The
Yeah,
character
by
development.
character development was okay.
The relationship stuff.
It's whatever. It helped. It gives a reason. We have to have unfortunate character development, otherwise you don't care about characters. Huh? I can't actually think of anything.
Oh, I know. Because you skipped it every time you had the remote. The intro song.
No, I really like the intro song.
Then why do you skip it?
I skip it because I just want to get into the story because I'm interested to get on, find out
The
more.
intro song gets you into the story. It's like putting on your underwear before you put your pants on. Doesn't make sense if you just put your pants on.
What is wrong with you?
I mean, it's a valid point.
What was my least favorite? I don't know actually.
All right, so then what's the flip side? What was your favorite part of the season?
I don't know either.
Oh, boy.
Oh no!
No, I think my favorite part of the whole thing, I think it's got to be the actor that played Billy.
Oh, Daiquiri.
The Red
What's his
Ranger?
name?
I thought he was one of the most interesting things in this show.
Daiquiri Montgomery.
In season 2?
Season 2, he was presented as like a douchebag or whatever, right? Like a jerk, the typical bully. In season 3, he was presented as kind of the face of the Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer.
The Mind
Flayer.
But we also got more of his backstory and a solid reason as to why he has the issues that he has and acts the way he acts. So I think, I think his character was the most interesting, and I think how they ended his character is also the most logical way.
His death was pretty well done, I will actually say.
Definitely very, very well done.
And it was a full arc for a character who in season 2 started off as just this complete asshole to a guy that is sacrificing himself for these other people that he doesn't necessarily have a relationship with.
Or respect or whatever. But he still...
At least where he started.
So wait, what's your nitpick?
No, that's his favorite
That's
part.
my favorite part.
Oh, that's your favorite
Yeah,
part.
because we flipped it because he couldn't think of what his least favorite part was.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. I see what you did there.
So then...
Oh, the mayor.
The mayor.
What's your favorite part?
Carrie Ellis?
No, I didn't like the mayor.
Why?
I thought that whole plot of selling the land to the Russians just seemed kind of... You've done it a million. It's not. This is not a very strong nitpick. It just felt like you could have done something a little bit more interesting as opposed to, the mayor's the bad guy. He's selling to the Russian.
Oh, that damn seller.
mayor seller. Yeah. I don't know. They just seem kind of like cool. Whatever. Yay.
I got you.
I think my second favorite part is the Terminator.
Oh, that was my favorite part. You just stole it.
Well, this is my second.
You
So.
stole my favorite. My favorite part was all the goofy parts, which is 3 parts in particular. The Russian, The Russian Terminator, basically. So he's like walking around. He's very monotone, and he basically resembles a Terminator, but he's Russian. Lucas's little sister. She was just. She's probably the sassiest character I have ever seen in TV or movies ever, and she is hilarious.
She's great.
She was amazing. And then the third part, the trifecta of the goofiness.
Erica was her name.
Erica. The third part is Steve. Gotta be Steve.
Steve.
If you're gonna mention goofiness, Steve is the quintessential goofball. All three of them very lovable in their own ways.
Sure.
Even the Russian. Actually, and then I think the fourth part it'll be the dynamic duo of Smirnoff and the conspiracy theorist.
Conspiracy guy.
Conspiracy guy. Like that little thing was
Oh, Alexia?
Murray
Alexia.
Bauman.
Yeah, whoever that is.
And yeah.
So
Dr. Alexi.
yeah. So I would say then my favorite part is like all the parts that were meant to be kind of over the top and then or just flat out funny. Like they tried and they succeeded.
I really liked kind of going off of that at the beginning in the first episode. I just thought it was really funny and kind of well done. Was the Hopper being the overprotective dad in that first episode, and it kind of links back to the end where he's, he clearly loves 11. He sees her as a daughter.
Yeah, he refers to himself as the father
as
multiple times.
dad.
Yeah,
And he's clearly like not okay with this relationship between 11 and Mike. He has the 3-inch rule for the door, like all this type of stuff. He wants to have the heart-to-heart, which clearly goes very wrong, where he basically takes Mike into his cruiser and threatens him. It's great. Like it's great stuff, and David Harbour, the actor, does a really great job playing that. My fear was that was just going to be his role all season, but it quickly turns from that. But I liked that 11 got the letter at the very end of the season from him, and kind of read it out. So that was my favorite part.
Be honest, did you cry?
I got a little emotional. But
Is that why you reached for your water bottle?
I didn't. I actually didn't have my water bottle next to me.
Is that why Christian reached for his water
Yes.
bottle? Okay.
I didn't have a water
Did you get teared up by that little speech by Harper at the end?
No.
Wow, you are heartless. I knew it.
So we should talk about that. Well, as we are talking about Hopper,
How Christian is heartless?
No, we haven't mentioned. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned it yet. Well, we mentioned it in the what happened, but Hopper seemingly dies at the end of the season.
He's not dead,
Yeah.
and that stupid after credit made it obvious and took away. That's my least favorite part. Boom! I found it. I take it back. Not the fucking mayor. The bullshit after credit scene.
When
Right?
the Russian's like, not the American.
Right.
Well, you didn't
No
say it like that.
shit. The American is gonna be
David Harbour.
David Harper.
So how did he
because
get to Russia?
Who cares?
He survived in the remember we see the Russians come in and then they're gone when the Americans arrive?
Yep.
Well, they got vaporized.
No. There was Russians coming in to get Joyce.
After the vaporization.
Oh, that's
they
right.
got Russians with
And then
guns.
when the U.S. military comes into the
They're all
base,
gone.
everyone's gone.
So yeah, they took Hopper.
So how did Hopper not get vaporized?
I don't know. Science.
But someone said that someone said something interesting. Oh, is he stuck in the upside? You might have said that.
I think I said that.
Oh, is he
Which
stuck in the
would make
upside down now?
s-
Maybe
well-
they went. Maybe they got him or something.
Well, okay, so let's back up a second. So in the after credit scene, we are in Russia, and we're told we're in Russia. There are two guards going by. They say the American, say not the American. They get some other Russian guy, take this Russian down. Prisoner.
Everyone's a prisoner here.
Take this guy down, and it's clearly it's a Demogorgon, not the doggy kind, a true Demogorgon, standing humanoid type, and he eats him, obviously. So that begs the question of, I think that answers a couple of questions right there, which is, how did Hopper, if he is alive, how did he get there? We know the Russians, this group, which I guess is attached to the USSR because they are government officials.
They wear the colors.
They're experimenting on trying to punch through to the other side. Alexia says that they came to Hawkins because they were able to puncture and the hole was weakest there. That doesn't mean they haven't been doing this test elsewhere, because we see it in the beginning where they try and crack open.
And
so it's very possible they crack open, they find Hopper, and they also bring a Demogorgon back for some idiotic reason.
And you saw in season 2 there are smaller holes, right? Like, so the hole that 11 comes back through is like through a tree.
Yeah.
Right? And only a little child can fit through.
Right.
So there are smaller holes in
Tears.
Hawkins and probably elsewhere in the world, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, so I mean,
So you
back
thought
to my complaint. Yeah, the fact that most likely he's still alive. I don't know. It kind of kills the previous scene, that moment of him kind of reading this thing out to his daughter and whatever, and everyone's moving on, growing up, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, "Oh, just kidding. He's alive still. Here's our plot point for season 4."
What if
which
it's not Hopper?
we don't need.
Right, it might not be Hopper. What if it is?
I will bet Arjuna's Zapdos card that it
you
is
can't,
Hopper.
You can't bet.
Thank you, Arjuna, for
no.
the. I will bet. What do I have in this room that I don't care too much about? I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I'm willing to make a bet that is 100% Hopper.
It could be Matthew Modine's character from season 1.
Who?
The Doctor.
No, he died.
No,
He
it's
got his
established. It's established he's alive in season 2, and he's out there.
Wait, this is Elle's father?
Yeah, you guys forgot about that plot
Yeah,
point?
well, this is why
He's alive?
season 2 was kind of
yeah.
like...
It's established in that episode with the friends. They find out that he is still out there and running around. She even goes in the Upside Down and she sees him.
Oh, it might be that guy then.
He could be the American.
Why would the Russians capture him, though?
Because he's the scientist who got the original hole open.
Yeah, but that was all done by accident.
Sure, but he still has probably a very good understanding of how it is to get into the Upside Down.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they want him as a prisoner and not want to kill him?
Yeah.
It's Hopper.
It might not be. What if What if they actually killed Hopper?
Yeah.
They
Hopper
didn't.
might be dead.
That would be great, I think, if they did.
Netflix is like any Hollywood studio.
I mean, it is a Hollywood studio.
Exactly. They just can't stick to anything. They're a bunch of wimps
Damn.
making wimpy stories.
Wow, you went from I have no least favorite part to having like 8
You did.
least favorite parts.
You did.
That's usually how this works.
Oh boy.
We did just literally finish it, so I'm still processing.
literally. We
Literally.
literally just finished it.
I see something here called hot take.
Hot take.
What's that?
Oh, I actually do have a hot take. If we want to, if our host says we can get to it.
Christian, what's your hot take?
I don't have one.
Arjuna, I guess you have the hot take.
I do have the hot take, and this is I think it potentially ties in with my least favorite part, and some of my rants from earlier. The kid characters, the children of this show, right? 11, Mike, Will, all those characters.
Lucas.
Dustin, Lucas, Max. They all suck. Okay? I'm just going to get that. They all suck. They're annoying. They're going through that puberty phase where they're not cute anymore. They're not like adorable little children. They're just like angsty, and they're like they can't act. They definitely can't act anymore.
Oh, so you're actually going after their acting chops
I'm
now
going
too.
I'm going after the actors and the characters.
Oh wow.
I mean the characters are fine. You know that they portray perfectly what a preteen teen is, but it's annoying. And guess what? I don't need any more of that in my life. I was a teenager at one point, and I don't. That's not what I'm interested in.
Sounds like it gave you PTSD.
So actually, no. I'm gonna attack your hot take.
You haven't even let me finish.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I
Very
just think
straightforward.
I feel like it took away from the show in terms of I understand you have to go through these plots, but I think they harped on it a little too much, and it was the part where I kind of rolled my eyes and I just like waited to get to the stuff that I really cared about with what's going on with, you know, the Upside Down and the Mind Flayer and the Russians. It works well within this world, but it was just a little too heavy-handed for me.
So compare the kids' acting to season 1.
Sure.
No, I'm asking you. Compare it.
Yeah. Okay.
What's worse? Because I would argue season 1 of their acting, like that's the first time they were all
Sure.
kind of did like a big production together.
Yeah.
That acting is hell of a lot more fake and somewhat annoying than season 3.
I think
I might disagree with that.
I think season 3 is way
Yeah.
more over the top.
For sure.
It's way more like I love you. I dump your ass.
I mean, no.
Bah!
It's not so. Just to go from Juna's point, I don't think it's so much as the acting. It's just that awkward tween stage.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's the same thing with the Harry Potter movies.
Oh,
Right?
no, Harry Potter.
You know, that's why I started off with puberty. That was my one-word impression.
Yeah.
For that very reason,
Right.
puberty is an ugly thing. It's never pretty. You can try and dress it up as much as you want, but when your actors are going through it and your characters, it's gonna make for some awkward stuff, right? So that part of it was handled well because there were many awkward moments, and the fact that we felt awkward means they did. A good
they
job.
did something right then.
They did a good job.
Well, I didn't feel awkward. I felt annoyed.
Well, that too.
Annoyed. I'm annoyed.
Juna, you should never be a parent.
I am a parent.
What?
I have 2 children.
Oh my
Their
god.
name is Juan and Solo. Juan Solo.
What the hell?
You would.
What
You
is wrong with
would.
you?
What's wrong with you?
I asked you first.
You say you're a father with a cat.
Named Megatron.
Yeah, it's true. You post on Father's Day like, Happy Father's Day to myself. Ha 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 ha.
It's true.
You have an Instagram for your child.
I do, actually. It's called Megatron the Kin. Thank
That's
you for
how-
letting me do that plug.
That sounds like abuse.
Of course it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
Jesus.
I do it for the likes, subscribes, and hearts or something.
Hearts, stars, and horseshoes. Clovers and balloons.
Don't do it.
Does anyone have a favorite episode
Out of the entire
Ooh.
season?
of the season?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think. I think my favorite episode is the second to last, with Steve and Robin getting drugged up.
That part was kind of funny.
Because that was hilarious. And then also, Dustin and Emily? Is that her name? Emma? Lucas's sister.
Erica.
Erica.
There you go.
Their
Dynamic.
Their dynamic tried to escape, and then she just finds this electrocution weapon. Like, what the fuck? It's so ridiculous. Anyways, and also, the fact that we saw those cages in that episode, which is a subtle nod, 'cause they don't acknowledge it, but clearly holds Demogorgons. I think you said that, Ravi. So that was a shout out right there. That we should have known that Demogorgons were coming.
Because
Wait, at what
They
part?
were.
when they're underground in the tunnel, there's some cages or something
That are like 9 feet tall.
and it's
Oh,
That
that's
looked
right.
like they would hold Demogorgon.
Yeah.
So we should have known that part was coming. And then what else happened in that episode? Some other stuff that was pretty entertaining, but those were the highlights for me. So I'm gonna go with that.
Nice.
I think
Francis.
the Russian guy was chasing after Hopper. Was that
the
episode?
Terminator.
The
Terminator?
Terminator.
I mean, that's
And
every episode.
Smirnoff dies.
Smirnoff dies in a 7. Yes.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's well
say
done.
Lexi.
I wouldn't say there was like a favorite episode. I kind of liked the whole season as a whole. I thought it was like a
So
nice,
did I,
well-
Ravi. Pick an episode.
Nothing stands out though. Like, oh wow, that episode is like the best episode.
I have a favorite segment, and I think it's something we've alluded to, but something that I thought was interesting and they handled well was the character of Robin.
Yes, that was done
so,
well.
So the character of Robin was the coworker of Steve, and as the season starts, it's like, oh boy, here we go, new love interest for Steve,
Yeah.
and it's certainly leaning that way. And then as they're coming down from the funny drug part where they both throw up after seeing Back to the Future,
It was a great reveal.
Robin, Steve admits that he has feelings for Robin.
Yeah.
And so I would say in 99% of other movies and TV shows, she would reciprocate and they would end up together.
Well, so she did this first, right?
Sure.
She was like, "No, you don't know who I am." My mom, you remember too? She's a Russian spy. That's how she decoded this whole shebang. She's defecting.
Oh my
That's where my
God.
mind went. Instead,
What happened was Robin admitted that she liked girls, that she is a lesbian.
yep.
And it was cool. Like it's something that's interesting. That's part of growing up and finding yourself and who you are. And it's interesting to see that in the 80s too, when maybe it's certainly not as socially acceptable to be gay, publicly at the very least.
Right.
And I think it's even alluded to at the end. Like she's still closeted. Like it's not like it's public knowledge that she's gay. That when they go to apply for a new job, she mentions this and this, and she's talking about hot girls, but she's not saying like, oh yeah, I can hit on the hot girls too. It's just like,
Yeah.
she's trying to get her friend a job.
Right.
But I thought it was handled well, and it was cool to see how Steve, the character, reacted to it too. Like Steve in season 1 would probably be an asshole about it,
For sure.
but Steve in season 3 is very accepting. He's like,
Steve-
oh, you could do better.
Steven season one would be so butthurt over that. About
Yeah,
it. He'd be
exactly.
Like, wait a second, you don't like me?
Yeah.
Like, and he would have an issue with it.
Yeah, exactly. But Steve in season 3 is like, oh, you can do better. Like, and still clearly shows her like, we're still good. We're friends.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter that you're not interested. Like, and he totally accepts her.
It's come a long way, that Steve.
Right. And
Yeah, because didn't he try like pulling some shit in season 1?
Oh yeah.
with
On
Jonathan.
Nancy.
No, with Jonathan,
Nancy.
with Nancy.
Nancy Wheeler.
Like
Yeah.
he drugged her or
No.
No, he didn't drug
he
her.
didn't drug her.
Oh,
But he was like, he definitely was like trying to take advantage of her
Gotcha.
inexperience.
Steve was definitely an asshole in season 1.
Yeah.
He was definitely an
For sure.
antagonistical.
Now he redeemed
force.
himself a little bit in the finale,
Yes.
right? Because he gets the bat, and
Right.
he does work. Season 2, he really redeemed himself, and then this season he's just come a long way.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I would say the Steve Robin dynamic was actually like the most genuine relationship in the entire show.
Yeah.
I felt like it felt the most real. You know, Hopper and Eleven, they weren't together for most of the season,
Yep.
so we didn't get that. The end, obviously, the letter was beautiful. That was a great part. But like we didn't get Will and his brother. Even Will's brother and Nancy.
Jonathan and Nancy was kind
That
of
was
weak.
it was extremely. And the last season I thought it was really strong.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was strong the first 2 seasons really, but this season there was no real tension. Oh, I don't. You know, they had one little blow up fight I think in episode 2. Right?
It was like middle of the season.
And they were back. You know, they were fine season 3 or whatever.
Sure.
Oh, episode 3. So that was kind of weak-ish. As you mentioned, the kids going through puberty, they did the best with what they got. Hopper and Joyce, not more of the same, you know. So yeah, that was the best relationship I saw in this whole thing.
It just felt like for like Joyce and Hopper specifically, they kept repeating the same thing over and over again in the episode. They fight, they yell at each other, then they kind of make up, then they fight, they yell at each other, then they make up, and then even like Maury's character at one point is like, "Why don't you guys just fuck already?" Essentially,
in not so many words.
yeah. I mean,
No, he literally said
I think
that.
he literally said
He
that.
says,
says that-
he says have sex. He doesn't say the F word, Juno. This is a children's show.
It's not a children's show.
You're right, it's not.
Thank
But
God.
Stranger Things kind of is.
Not a children's show
Not a
either.
children's show.
But they don't say the F word.
I think they do. At
Look
one
it up,
point.
man. Look it up. I would put money down actually on it. I would bet this T-shirt. That
Speaking
I'm
of bets, we're into our section of the show. Bold predictions.
Oh, I'm
for
sorry. Did you?
Oh,
did
yeah,
you? Did,
I'm sorry,
I'm
Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're just on your phone texting.
I'm looking at everything.
You
here.
were texting. You just switched the windows.
I'm sorry. Did I die and you became the host? How about you go over there and produce?
Well, why don't you do your job?
Krishna, talk to your younger brother and tell him to pipe down.
I was teed up with a perfect
You were
transition.
I see that, and I've derailed it because I'm not ready to go to bold predictions yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I want to talk about the theories first.
The theories
About the Upside Down being a literal wasteland.
Yeah,
Wait,
actually,
so where does this theory come from?
Oh, so for me, it comes from me. So-
Everything's from Arjuna.
So one thing while watching the show that they talked about were the mind flayer controlled people consuming waste, right? Fertilizer, different cleaning supplies, all that type of stuff. They needed it as like a nutrition, right? Mm-hmm. The mind flayer. So this is my theory. The mind flayer is from the Upside Down.
Right.
And we've seen what we've seen of the Upside Down, which, by the way, we didn't really see much of any of the Upside Down this season.
Not just a crack in the wall.
Just the crack, just the butt crack. But when we see the Upside Down, it is literally like a nuclear fallout of the real world.
Yeah, it's
That's what it looks
overgrown
like, yeah.
with.
Overgrown,
Yeah.
things are run
Dark.
down, dark,
Gloomy,
demonic.
dusty.
Yeah.
Lots of dust.
Right. Do we think, potentially, that the Upside Down is the world wasted? Like a nuclear fallout?
Like an alternate history almost?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Something
I
like
like that
that.
a lot. I don't think it is, but I do love that theory. I personally just think it's just another dimension, you know, where dark, scary things live.
Sure.
Um,
Or like an alternate timeline. Like, let's say
that'd be cool. That'd be dope, actually.
the world felt this is all nuclear fallout essentially.
And, like,
this is where all these freaking creatures come
and the
from.
things that are coming through are like mutated creatures.
You know this.
I like that.
This ties into the whole Chernobyl thing too.
Yeah.
Chernobyl and our Attack on Titan theory. Fun fact. Go listen to those podcasts.
Maybe we just have one-track minds and everything for us is nuclear waste.
So I mean, it ties in nicely in the sense that where we are timeline wise is we're in 1985
Cold War.
during the Cold War, like the
Yeah.
peak of the Cold War, and we know that in Russia and the Russians are trying to punch into this upside down world. We know that in 1986 is the Chernobyl disaster in Russia or the Ukraine, USSR area or whatever. It's possible that they're going to tie those events into this. But I guess the question comes down to, like, why is everyone interested in the upside down?
So here's one thing I thought that would happen in the season that didn't. The Mind Flayer's goal is to get through, right? So it wants to eliminate 11 so it can come through and stay through. And
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why does it want to be here?
Because it wants to destroy. That's what it said. But literally, when it talks to 11, it says, "I want to come through, and I want to kill all your friends and all life."
And then
right?
everyone else, yeah.
Right? That its motivation is death.
Cool.
Right? So you should love it.
It's true. He's like the Night King.
He's like the Night King. He's your new Night King.
But
right.
but technically better than the Night King.
Yeah,
the
he's-
Night King had no strategy.
Right. And guess what? The Mind Flayer has been through 2 seasons, and he's still alive.
He is?
Yeah.
He's not dead.
He's just got his head cut off.
He just got the thing. The Mind Flayer that was on this side was the little piece from Will. The big Mind Flayer is still on the other side of the Upside Down.
Oh.
At least that's my understanding of it. And literally, like, all that stuff was like that little piece of the Mind Flayer building.
Oh.
So there's still a huge Mind Flayer on the other side.
Like the
main
big
guy.
thing. Or the Spider-Man
sure.
thing.
So what I thought would happen was the Mind Flayer clearly takes over people, but I thought how the Russian thing would tie in was the Mind Flayer had taken over some Russians and was manipulating the Russian government to continue the experiments
That's
to
what I
open
thought,
up the
too.
portals.
I mean, that's still a possibility.
Still very much a possibility.
Well, then
that-
again, though, like a lot of the well, I guess it depends on who in the Russian. Like,
Yeah.
if you're the Mind Flayer and you're smart, you wouldn't need to take over the entire, like every single individual in Russia. You
No,
just
right.
need some key figures.
Right,
Gorbachev.
exactly.
Just the Russian president, Gorbachev.
Yeah,
Gorbachev.
Is that the president in the 80s?
during the
think so,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that had the
During Chernobyl.
thing.
Right.
Now moving on to bold predictions for season 4.
A bold prediction.
Krishna, do you have any?
I think the only predictions I'm gonna come up with are they're gonna basically to this. There's gonna be
Oh, a time jump.
a little bit, not a huge one, a little one. But what I mean is specifically, it too is the premise or the basically they come back together to defeat the evil, right? That they promised that they said that if this evil ever comes back in 26 years, right, we're gonna come back together and we're gonna take care of it. Similar idea, I think. A Demogorgon or something along those lines is going to appear, threaten some stuff, and that's going to be the main reason for why they come together. It would be too weird if like they come together, they're just visiting, having a good time, and all of a sudden the world goes to shit. That's too much of a coincidence.
I'm sorry, Krishna.
Coincidence.
Have you heard of this thing called plot device?
Yeah, but it won't work in season 4. We're a more mature audience, okay? We're more mature.
Okay. So Christian doesn't know how to say the word mature.
Anyway,
It's
what's your
mature.
prediction, Juna?
I would say my prediction for season 4 is that the majority of the season does not take place in Hawkins, Indiana.
It'll take place wherever Will is.
Very much like Spider-Man: Far From Home. The producers are going to be like, we need to diversify
France.
our environment.
Let's go to France.
No, I don't think it's necessarily going to be that far out, but I think that the world is opening up. We had the Russians this season. I think part of the plot with this American, whether it be Hopper or someone else, will be in Russia. We obviously have to follow where Will and Jonathan and Joyce and Eleven are, wherever they've moved. Out of Hawkins. It might still be in Indiana. It might be outside of Indiana.
Probably Illinois.
So I think the world is opening up, and I believe the Upside Down and everything will be more national or international.
I don't really have anything for season 4.
Just make something up.
Because I don't believe there should be a season 4.
Is that your bold prediction?
That's not really a bold prediction. I'm just
Well,
stating
there is going to
fact.
be a season 4.
Yes. I believe Harper's still alive. He's the American. And things are going to get turned upside down because Hopper is going to escape. And that's going to be the thing that kind of kicks everything back into high gear.
I like it.
Makes the most sense. It's easy. It's logical. We're probably going to end the season and still not know anything about anything. And that's fine. For once in my life, I'm okay not knowing
Really?
everything.
It's Snoke.
Well, I mean, I think goes back to this, like, Stranger Things is cool, it's entertaining. I had fun for, like, a couple days watching with you guys. Am I going to be talking about this next week? Probably not. Am I looking at crazy wild theories and understanding the world of Stranger? No.
Right.
Demogorgons are cool, but it's pretty, like,
Yeah.
you get what you get, and that's like...
It seems pretty clear, kind of dry.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not. I don't know.
Right.
So.
It doesn't seem like there's a deeper mythology here.
No, and that's fine. We don't need that. We have a lot more of that with Marvel, because they're doing such a great fucking job.
It's Star Wars.
I don't know what Star Wars is.
Oh my.
I think it's that time,
Is
kids.
it that time?
Wait,
All
we
right.
should do a different order.
Sure.
Ravi.
Oh, okay.
Was Stranger Things season 3 good?
Yes.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Krishna was this thing that we just talked about good.
Yes, it was. Arjuna, was Stranger Things Season 3 good?
It was good. Yes.
Well, you were very enthusiastic about that, yes.
It was yes.
It was yes. I would watch it again for sure. What about you guys?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch it again until the show's probably done, but I will watch it again.
Agreed. Exactly. I tried rewatching Season 1 before Season 2 kicked off, and it kind of ruined Season 2 for me. Because then Season 2 wasn't as good. So I'm gonna.
I feel like
other shows.
Yeah, I feel like that was a Season 2 problem, not a.
No, it was. But I'm just gonna wait till the whole thing's done, so I
Gotcha.
don't.
So
screw
real
myself.
quick, one last question for all of you guys before we sign off here. Would you say this season? Because clearly none of us like Season 2, but would you say Season 3 was better than Season 1?
I'm gonna say no.
No. Because Season 1 brought you into the world.
I'm gonna say it was better. I enjoyed.
Wow.
I enjoyed this season from beginning to end more, and I think it's gonna stay with me longer than Season 1 did.
It's only because you saw it more recently.
Yeah.
I think in the grand scheme of things, I think when you do the rewatch,
You said do.
there's something very magical about Season 1 that it just hasn't been replicated. And I think it's hard to do. They captured the kids at the right age.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they're getting older, you lose some of that magic. And also the concept and the world building and the characters, the whole thing.
But it wasn't electrifying.
It's revolutionary, Juna, which is better than electrifying.
Wasn't enough electricity for me.
Thank you for listening. That's going to do it for us. We are the Was It Good podcast crew. We just finished Stranger Things Season 3. You can find us on the socials. Twitter's going to be at Was It Good. And on Instagram at WasItGoodBTM.
And on Twitch. Was it good?
Thank you. I actually forgot that thing existed. Please don't sponsor us. Thank you.
Wait, don't we want to be sponsored?
Cut the damn thing.